Welcome back on deynonmod. Today I want to propose you a video about trying to build and paint Sekhar the Fang of Nulahmia. So I follow simply the instruction because I don't have too much to do, but I'll make that I'll paint separately the snake and the vampiress, otherwise it will be quite problematic to have. And really I'm going anyway to study one thing, and it's about the head, that it's not something that I completely like, so I'm still thinking about trying different type of heads that have about vampiresses and try if I find something better. Still, it's an amazing model and I'm really quite intrigued to have this built. Before to finish to assemble such model, there are some things that I'd like to make you notice. The first thing is about the snake here, or Ouroboth, that I suggest you can see it's perfect, to paint separately from the base. Otherwise, if you put here, there are pieces that it will be quite problematic to reach. So I suggest you to paint these and then these separately and then glue them together. Then there is this, that is the vampiress, that as you can see it's perfect combined here, so that you can see it's really quite simple, but it goes to hide some pieces that are a bit problematic to reach. So I suggest you to paint also the vampires separately, so it's not a problem to reach some parts. And about here you can decide if this it's worth to glue before or after, because you could have problems to reach about painting the armor or the legs, and so eventually you can paint these separately and then glue on, so that there is no such troubles. And about the part about these that are the arms, you can find that you can really simply put like this. Again, there is about the surface that you can paint on, so you have to decide if you want to glue before or after. Anyway, it's not quite problematic about this. Same, it's about the same from this side, because as you can see you can put, but you have little space to reach than the other parts. And one thing that it's important is that it's about these that are the feet, because they are perfect to put like this, so you can see it's perfect suited, but it's not the best about magnetizing. Eventually you can put some pin on it, because there is not enough surface. Maybe a 1 for 1 mm one will be enough, but it will not have enough strength to keep in position this one. So if you want to use this model separately, remember that you have to think about having it separately by itself, because otherwise it's problematic to move from one base to another, even if it's a bit a pity, but anyway there is such thing. And about here you can see that there is the part about the head, and about here, okay, again a 1 for 1 mm one, this be enough to put, but I don't think that it's a good idea, because it's really quite small, and the risk that even drilling the part, you risk to ruin the neck, and it will be a problem. So this, it's one of the models that it's so small about the contact points, that it's better thinking about before to finish everything, how you want to assemble, and how you want to program the painting about this model. Otherwise it will be quite problematic. So pay attention about such details, because they are really quite important. And then it's time to choose the head. So we can take the model, we can take the official head, that obviously it's perfect on it, so it's not a problem about. Here remember that you have also this piece to add, that it's something that you can put, so that you can put in such a way. So if here you have to decide if you want to paint separately and then glue, or glue and then paint. Eventually another head that I selected to choose is this, that it's from the set of Neferata, that it's amazing in my opinion to put on the model. Have a bit of polish here under, so that it can be combined perfectly, and it's a great option in my opinion. About the heads, we can see that if we see them closer, we can see that the size of the heads are really quite similar, so it's not a problem. The change it's about the head, so you decide which one do you prefer. Then you have another option that it comes from the set of the Avatar of War, that it's the Vampire Countess. About here we have different heads available, so we can choose which one to go to put on the model. So here we have different heads. It's not to choose these ones because they are perfect or so on. It's the one that I have that I can choose from. So based on what head you use, you can change completely the idea, the context, everything related. So here you can really personalize quite a lot, even simply using a different head, because you can change completely the expression, what you want to communicate when you deploy such models. So it's up to you, because you cannot appreciate the new one, the original head of such model, or you can simply decide to use another one, try this completely and so on. It's up to you, but you can change and evaluate quite a lot this one, because you can also change, for example, make a sort of Khalida, Attid, or other things. It's really quite up to you, decide, and it's really quite worth to think about a bit, because I have still to choose, but once that I chosen, because I said you, it's a problem then to monetize this part, so it's something that you can't do this lightly, and in such a way, once that you decide the head, it's the head that remain. So think about, because it's an amazing model and it's worth the time that you need to adjust such thing. And you, which head would have chosen? You have other ones that you would prefer? Eventually write in the comment if you have something different as head option. And anyway, I suggest you to paint the head separately so that you can reach the neck, otherwise really quite small and problematic to reach, and really quite intriguing. This it's a model that requires a bit of planning about, but the result is amazing. The model itself is something that I'm completely in love with. And now it's time to paint this model. I'm not going to use such schema color because I prefer other ways, but still it's something that it's really quite amazing. Remember that you have to decide how to separate the paint so that you don't have problem to reach the inner part. So pay attention about deciding before to proceed what and how you want to paint so that it's much easier to do. And so here we had the first step about painting. So I made the usual things. So I used the black primer, the Racker Flash of the Citadel, and the 3rd edition AKI, the Off-White. And I realized so in the way that for the Sekhar itself, I made the primer and the highlights so that I can change the color and so change a bit with the paint with the same color using the base. Instead, for the Ouroboth, I made the strips using the Off-White, similar to what we can see in the here in the design stuff, because I like quite a lot. It make a bit of text so that it's perfect about. So to realize this, and then had to paint. Here only the thing that I had to choose it's about the colors, the stuff about the armor and eventually the skin of the vampiress, and about how to paint the Ouroboros, because I need a bit of more detail but without varying too much about such colors. So I need to think about a bit, but it's really quite intriguing. And so here we had the next painting about the snake, the Ouroboros. I used to recover a bit of detail about the strips and so on. Here the aggressive shade, followed by a bit of the brush about the Off-White of the key 3rd edition. And I quite like the result because it's really quite amazing one. Has still to finish because I had to paint the tail and the eyes. Instead about the vampires itself, I use for the part about the skin a bit of Dookie Violet, so to put a bit more detail using the inks, but had to finish to paint moreover about the eyes. About the arm instead, I use here the leather badge one and the Dookie Violet itself, with in the part about the gems, about the Retributor armor and the Dookie Violet. So I made the basic color and then put the part about the ink so that I can be more refined about. Then I had to finish, remember. And then about the tissues, here I use the garnet purple of the deepening ink to have such colors that have even these to have better ones. So really a simple processing but really quite nice, because after this I have any way to continue to paint, and even by this anyway it's a good thing. I want to make you notice that anyway there are the feet here that you have to remember to paint because they are on the base itself. So remember that some details are really quite intriguing, but you have to pay a bit of attention about. So now we can continue. And so here we had the last steps about the painting. Then you have to decide if you progress or not. I have to finish a bit of base, but the mod is technically finished. So about the armor, I simply applied a bit of light using the iron break of the citadel, so to make the shadow still remain, but having this a bit better. Then about the jewels, here I reinforced with the retributor armor and then a bit of the gaming of the Vallejo, so to have such effect that I quite like, and I applied to all the gems that I could find, really quite nice. About the skin, I applied simply a bit of lacquer flash, so it's not a problem itself. Instead about the eyes, about the lady, I used the Antares red of the scale 75 and a bit of soy yellow to mark the pupils, but it's not quite visible, but anyway it's a symbol. And I made the opposite about the snake, so to make the here eye yellow, and instead the line about the eye itself with a bit of red. And about the tongue of the snake, I used the Antares red with a bit of the garnet purple deepening ink of the Greenstaff World to have this color quite nice. I finished also some detail that I was missing about here, that was the continuation of this mantle. So step by step I made this model that I think that it's really quite nice, and it's really quite worth to have, because I really love such model. Okay, it's quite different from the original one, but I quite appreciate it. I didn't want to paint the lips because I was not able to find a way to make it better, but anyway eventually I can do it in the future and so on. This is a simple scheme of color based on my procedure. Anyway, you can decide other things. The snake is the piece that I appreciate most, so now I simply to glue the lady itself, make a bit of protective layer on the model before, and then I simply have to finish the basing and it's ready. So for the basing, I connect the base itself with the shining feature using the snow Vallejo. Then to connect everything, I used as basing the lacquer flash. Then for the part about the columns and the stones, I use the stone wall gray. And to connect the snow Vallejo part to the stone wall gray, I use the off-white, so that I could make the similar colors and then pass the skeleton brown to make them complete and so make them finished. Still, I'll avoid the part about the feet for the vampiress, and here I have to pay attention about one thing, and it's about the color. So eventually I use a bit of aggregate shade to refine it more, but I have to finish to paint and so on, so to make you see the difference and so decide if it's worth or not to add another color to it. And as I thought to finish completely the basing, I had to use the aggregate shade to blend everything together. Then I use the matte acrylic varnish of the Vallejo to protect the color of the miniatures. Now what is missing is to assemble the model, and it's ended. I made anyway some little changes. About the head, I changed the position about the head so that it's in the same position to see as the Ouroboth, so they see the same target. I think that it's a nice thing about. And then here I found out that in the part about the feet, it's the feet naked, not only the part about the toes, but also the back part. So I decided to paint it in the way that it's seeable about. So remember that there are many details, and so have to take a bit time of analyzing. And sometimes some of them arrive at the end, so when you think that there are any more things to paint, so pay attention about. Eventually you can paint it like it's wearing some armor or some penthouse and so on. You don't have to make it like it's naked, so it's how you decide how you want to realize it. Remember about this. So here we can see the amount of differences that I made with this model. So as you can see, the armor is much darker than this one, the original one. About the snake, the color is a bit different, but the schemes here about the strips are quite similar, so it's quite not a problem about, and I quite like it. Then I changed about obviously the mountains and so on. The main change it's about the back, where you can see that here there is the skin. Instead here I use the part about the armor, but it's up to you decide. Eventually the calves here I used anyway the part about the skin, so it's not a problem. Also in the front part. So it's really quite different, but it's really quite useful to make you understand how you can have different spectrum of options available. I prefer like this, but you can also appreciate like this because it's much brighter and so on, and you can see much more different the results and so on about the skins. It's up to you decide. Anyway, everything it's really quite nice, and I love such mod, and I bought this box because I wanted to add this one, so it's really quite amazing, and I love to have painted this. So, from deynonmod it's everything. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell so to receive notification about new video, to comment under here about this video, or if you want to suggest me new videos. So, I hope to see you again to the next time.